Superb people skills are indispensable for any leader. Having the ability to effectively communicate with others as a diplomat is vitally important. Relating well to a flock, to a group of people, is extremely important. I'll never forget one particular man who somehow managed to work his way into the leadership of a church that I was pastoring. And in time, it became apparent to me that this guy was people skill challenged, if you know what I mean. Rarely did this guy ever shake your hand or smile or go so far as to use your name or say a word of encouragement to anybody who is around. If this guy was 2 feet smaller, I tell you, he could have doubled for Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs very easily. Now, when he would enter into a room, people often would turn away from him because they really didn't want to have any interaction with him. And all that it required in that church to be able to be an elder was to receive 50% of the vote of the congregation. Well, this guy managed to squeak on by with 51% of the vote of the congregation. And instead of catching a clue that he really didn't have an overwhelming amount of support from the congregation, he still chose to be an elder. You say, but Jeff, I have known quite a few leaders, whether they're in the church or outside the church, and some of these guys they're cold, they're impersonal, they're rather stuffy, but they still manage to get the job done. Oh, they may not be the friendliest, the warmest people in the world, but they see to it that what needs to get done, what needs to get accomplished, gets accomplished. Now, while that may be true, it's to everyone's benefit when the leaders in our lives have good, positive people skills. Why? Because the workers, they feel wanted and appreciated. They feel needed, that they're necessary and highly valued for what they are and for who they are. And beyond that, when there are good people skills coming from the leadership and being expressed toward the workers, they often feel even more motivated. They want to bring their A game and do the best job that they possibly can. And in some cases, even stay with their ministry for a longer period of time. The leader also benefits by knowing that he or she is able to draw out the best in people. That's an encouragement to the leader. Now, which people skills make a sizable difference when it comes to communicating with other people? What are those specific people skills? You say, Jeff, really all you got to do is go through the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and it's all right there, man. Just read that book. It's got it there. Well, Carnegie has some really good ideas in that book, but he does not have a corner on the market. When the Apostle Paul was imprisoned in Rome, he was he realized that his death was imminent. And while he is there in Rome, he's thinking about how people skills, good people skills, can make a great difference in the lives of other people. And when this church planter, this apostle named Paul is thinking through what people skills can do in the life of a person, he picks up a pen and he writes a very personal, important letter to his young son in the faith, Timothy. Paul is thinking about Timothy's ministry. He wants him to thrive. He wants him to be successful as he is reaching other people for the Lord. And he's thinking about how to do that. And in order to help Pastor Timothy, Paul paints several word pictures. And these word pictures make a profound difference. And I'd like for you to see these word pictures for yourself by opening up your Bible to 2 Timothy chapter 2. Here we are going to see how Paul leaves a final portrait. And this particular portrait is featured in Paul's gallery of faith. This particular picture that he paints for us in 2 Timothy chapter 2, really, it's all about a strong Christian leader with rock solid character. And Paul, in the last 3 verses of 2 Timothy chapter 2, spells out awesome people skills. Maybe you haven't thought about it in that connection, but that's really what it's addressing. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, Paul starts off by saying, "And the Lord's bondservant." Let's stop right there for a few seconds. Bondservant. It comes from the familiar Greek term doulos, which has reference to a third-row galley slave. This is a person who is doing, if necessary, grunt work for the Lord. And as a doulos, as a servant, as a bondservant, as a pastor, as an elder, perhaps as a deacon, Paul wants to draw to our attention the importance of reflecting the ultimate bond servant, the ultimate doulos, Jesus himself. Now, from there, Paul goes on to tell us in 2 Timothy chapter 2 that this bond servant, this servant of the Lord, has got to possess several key qualities. And these qualities can be summed up by understanding what good people skills are all about. By the way, these people skills, they don't just apply to pastors, to Pastor Timothy, to our elders, to deacons. What is a leader? We know that it's a person who is influencing somebody else. Insofar as you are influencing someone, you're leading them. You are bringing them to a different spot in their thinking. If you're a mother, if you're a dad, if you are a teacher, a worker, a grandparent, you're a leader insofar as you are influencing other people. Now, in this passage we are going to be looking at together, I come across 5 indispensable qualities for a person who is a servant of God uniquely with superb, not okay, not just average, but superb people skills. Is there anybody here who would like to sharpen your ability to be more effective in your communication with others? Anybody? Yeah, basically all of your hands should go up because all of us communicate with people at some level, and we want to be more effective in how we go about that. And so we are going to see how a person with excellent people skills, based on this passage, is an individual who is congenial, who is gentle, who is instructional, who is charitable, and also one who is correctional. We're going to look at each and every one of these. And so let's unpack these one by one.